Alright, sorry about that. Had to take care of business. Okay, where was I at? I'd just finished describing that. Yeah, we planted a couple of things in there. We only did the 3 tomatoes and 3 peppers just because we wanted to have something in the ground. We actually just had a frost just 2 nights ago that we had to cover them up for that. Thankfully they managed to make it through that frost. I brought out some PVC pipe and a tarp, and I put the PVC pipe in it to where the PVC pipe was sticking up above them, and then I used all of these rocks to weigh down the tarp and hold it still. That way they were safe from the frost. But that does remind me, I didn't explain the purpose of the rocks. We are actually going to be using these rocks to create an Irish style little wall around the flower bed. The wood's kind of ugly because, you know, it's just going to kind of be ugly, especially since I made, you know, considering what I made it from. But what we're going to be doing is just stacking the rocks up and making that little wall, and it's going to be Irish style. My wife is in love with Ireland, and the plan currently, you know, that could change in the future, that's just how things go, is to put in 2 more beds, one kind of running this way along the ground, kind of pointing toward the house, angled toward it, and another one over on this side, about right here, that'll kind of run a little bit to the house too. This particular bed I made about 11.5 feet long by 3.5 feet wide, roughly. And the other 2 are probably going to be the exact same width, but probably a little bit shorter as far as the full length. But anyways, that's the bed itself. And as far as the technique for building it, or for setting up the actual bed itself, I did one thing that's different. I've been paying a lot of attention lately to the survival podcast and looking up a lot of other stuff like hugelkultur. And so one thing that I did whenever I made this bed is I followed the hugelkultur model, sort of. I followed that concept. Whenever I first got it put in the ground, I started digging and digging and digging, and I got about an extra 8 inches down from the bottom edge of where the bed itself is. And I dropped in a bunch of logs and just chunks of old wood. Most of them varying between about 1 inch round up to about 3 to 4 inches round. You know, some of them were pretty good sized, and they're already in the process of rotting out. I got most of that from a friend of mine, and was able to get them in. And I got several more pieces. You can see that one right there and this stuff right here. I'm going to be saving those for a couple of other projects. And that actually leads to the next couple of things we did. I put in, I'm going to start with what I did the very next. I'm doing this step by step. Put in this peach tree right here. It's a Florida King peach. And so far it's doing pretty good. But we put it in the ground. When I did, oh, looks like something's trying to dig around in there. Actually, that looks like cow or horse hoof. Gonna have to start paying attention because that ain't right. We have issues with living creatures that shouldn't be coming around and digging around in our property. And we're probably, unfortunately, going to have to put up a full barbed wire fence all around the property. But yep, and you're actually discovering this with me, YouTube. I did not see this and have not seen it until today. But I'm seeing more and more of them. Here's some more right back here on this side of the stream. Yep, that's gonna be dealt with. But anyways, back to the peach tree. It is planted. I just used paracord, and I'm going back frequently and checking it to make sure it's not too tight to it. I don't want to hurt the bark. That would be the absolute last thing I want to do. But the way that I tied it over here, I can actually loosen it up over time, which it looks like I'm going to need to here. This one I kind of drug it down to tighten it up, and it looks like the rain might be shrinking it or something like that. But that's going to get fixed here soon. It's all a step-by-step process. I'm figuring it out as I go. And over here is our apple tree. We're putting in a Fuji apple. We're hoping it'll grow up really well. And it looks like that stupid cow was over here too. Yep, we may have to put up that barbed wire fence along the front a lot sooner than we thought. But anyways, here is our apple. And it seems to be doing pretty well. It had a lot fewer leaves whenever we planted it, whenever we first brought it out here. But anyways, the very next project I'm going to show you, this is actually the reason why I have all these really long pallets. These suckers are about 8 feet long, I think. And I got more than I need because eventually I'm going to tear them apart and use them as raw materials for a chicken coop. But what I'm doing, and I was actually just working on it a little bit ago, is I'm putting up the pallets right here. And what I'm doing is, because of my wife's love of Ireland, we're going to be putting up rock walls all along the edges through here. And we're going to basically close this backyard in and make sort of a little private garden type area for her. The rock wall might be a while. We're still trying to find a quarry where we can get the kind of stone we're looking for. But anyways, what I'm basically doing is I'm taking one plank off the very bottom of them, and I'm digging up the spots, and I'm just planting it in the ground and kicking the dirt in, getting it nice and tight to where they'll stand up straight and pretty even with each other. All of the spare planks I get like this, I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill in some of these openings through here and give it a little bit more stuff for things to grow on, because what we're going to be putting up on here is mostly like vines and different kinds of bushes. What we basically want to do is take this wild crap right here. You know, this stuff just gets kind of tangled and gross and all that kind of stuff. And we're just going to do the same idea, but we're going to make it orderly and keep everything flowing along the fence. We have a climbing hydrangea we're going to try out. I'm also trying to bring in honeysuckle and stuff like that from elsewhere. There's a lot of experimenting to it, at least as far as my end goes. We didn't have internet until just this past weekend when our DSL manufacturer, or DSL company, finally was able to make it out. We'd had the order set up for about 2 weeks, and they kept having delays where they couldn't get out to us. But we finally have internet, so I can actually start researching stuff again. But this fence is going to go all the way down to the end there. And, well, by the end, I'm going to say this little ledge here, right down here to where the water starts flowing in from the neighbor's property. We've got our own little ditch that runs in front of where I'm putting that stuff, and then we're going to have another one coming down from here. Or we've got another one coming down from here. That's all the neighbor's land right there. And I'm going to stop the fence probably about right through here, and maybe come up with something else to kind of bridge it over, because I don't want to block any of this water flow. We think it's pretty neat, and we're probably going to, over time, be working on it and improving it. Right now it's a little chaotic, but maybe drag some of this over here to kind of flatten it out and make it really flow. But that's about it as far as what I can think of right now to show you guys. My wife's trying to see if our conditions in land are working well for Irish moss, which is what those little pods right there are. And so far it's not going great. We're trying, we're seeing, but either the roots aren't getting down, because this ground is super moist and it looks like it's just drying out. But anyways, it's just trial and error, figuring things out and seeing what happens. But over time we'll get the hang of it, and this is going to be a pretty awesome place. We're looking forward to having it all done, and we're looking forward to the journey in the meantime. But anyways, that is the introduction to our land. I'll get a little better with the camera stuff as it goes along. It's, you know, kind of time consuming and an acquired skill, so to speak. But anyways, appreciate you watching the video. I hope you learned something from it. I'm open to not bullying criticism, but I'm open to helpful ideas and suggestions. I'm an open guy like that, and if you see something that you have a question about, feel free to speak up, ask questions, comment, whatever, and hopefully we can all kind of learn together. I'm a complete noob to this. That's why I'm putting this channel up. I think a lot of people get intimidated by this kind of stuff because they just don't know where to start. And I think probably what got me started and got me excited about this was the survivalpodcast.com with Jack Spirko. Lots of good information there if you're at all interested in that kind of stuff. Pardon me while I let that carpenter bee fly away. But it's pretty cool. We've got other stuff going. I'm actually not sure what these three are. This over here is the climbing hydrangea. And this is the Irish setter dogwood that we're going to be putting up. But anyways, appreciate you for watching the video, and I really hope that this helps out somebody. Thank you, and this is Cabo signing off.